Good afternoon, Corden Sroka from Allendale's trading floor here in McHenry, Illinois. It is February 14th, 2012, Valentine's Day today. We had pressure in the corn and pressure in the wheat, and the beans continued to hold their own with those two trading lower. The corn today, late pressure and a strong dollar. Some of the news that came out from the outside markets today that pushed the dollar around was a lot of these Greek bailout talks that have been discussed for the last couple months. They've continued to push these back, and there was rumor that they were going to get a lot of this solved today, and they were going to start to get some of this stuff signed into law, or a lot of these agreements signed that they needed to get taken care of, and they did push that back another day. So when that news came out, it started to break some of these commodity markets as well as some of the outside markets, and did strengthen up the dollar, which did finish the day pretty strong here. The corn today in March finished down 6 cents at 6.33 1/2. The December finished down 2 3/4 cents at 5.64 1/4. The focus now in the corn market is going to start to turn from old crop to new crop, as we have had the USDA baseline projections out yesterday. With those numbers coming out, a lot of guys are starting to look at a lot more acres going to corn this year, and we can't really argue. Our numbers are going to be right there with a lot of the other analysts that are expecting mid to high 90s as far as millions of acres being planted for corn. For the technical guys out there, we are working with a consolidation pattern right now in the March corn market, where we haven't gone and made new fresh lows, but haven't done much to make some new fresh highs either. So 664, if we can see a breakout above this number on the corn chart, is going to be looked at as technically friendly. A breakout below 592 is going to be looked at as bearish, and the about the 70-cent range we've got in between here could be traded for the next couple of months. So stick around, continue to look to trade that range and move within those bounds, selling at the upper end and buying at the lower end for the speculative trader, and selling at the upper end to get some of that corn hedged. Some of our price outlooks you can call in and get from our analysts here, as well as our brokers. We're not looking friendly for next year, so that's just something to keep in mind. We'll move on to the beans. The beans, as I said earlier, did trade higher today. The March contract was up by 3 cents at 12.55, and the deferred contracts were a little lower. The November contract was down 1.5 pennies at 12.57 1/2. Some of the things moving that market around, we did have an announced sale to China this morning. They bought 215,000 tons of old crop and 68,000 tons of new crop. So a total purchase around that 283,000 ton area, which is a good-sized sale. The Premier of China is over here visiting right now, and I believe he's going to be going through Iowa. If not today, it will be tomorrow. And usually when he comes around, we do get announcements of some decent-sized export sales. So with keeping that in mind, they're probably getting themselves positioned right now for some of those sales. The other talk has been dry weather in South America, and this is something that the bulls continue to beat on their bullish drum with, is the lack of rain that they're getting in southern Brazil. Well, just something to keep in mind, Argentina's been getting good rain for the last few weeks now, so the lack of rain in southern Brazil probably will be negated by the improving crops in Argentina. So we're not going to look for too much of a large reduction in South American production as a whole. For wheat today, one of the interesting notes we've got is some are anticipating a record Australian wheat crop production at somewhere around that, almost 30 million tons over there, with the Australian Wheat Board, or the Australian Agricultural Department, is looking or expecting record shipments of wheat for exports of about 22.3 million metric tons. So keep in mind that there is an ample supply of wheat on the global market right now. World record supplies. Cold in Europe causing some winter kills, a great talking point that the traders like to focus on the last couple of days for the wheat. We're really not going to see how that's going to develop until we start to see the wheat green up in the spring over in Europe. So we're still going to be having a holding pattern on that for now in the wheat as far as our idea there, but we are still looking for bearish overall. The wheat in March today finished down 6 1/4 at 635. Cattle today, we did have some positive trade for most of the session there as the funds were positioning themselves to the long side in the cattle. We were trading the April contract up $1.10 at 129.22. Also an interesting talking point today, we had a smaller show list even though cattle in the feedlot is starting to back up here, so we are getting some good weight gain in the cattle on the feedlots. So with that extra weight gain in the mild winter, we could see an extra supply of meat on the market. Even though supplies are tight, that is going to help alleviate some of the supply crunch we've got right now. The hog market today, not too much news. A lot of the news that we had seen has been mixed there. Cash trade, not expecting a whole lot for the next month. We usually just chop around through the month of February. The February contract is going to be going off the board here today, so it was the last trading day. Today's rally in the hogs, we're just going to attribute that to the bounce that we saw in the cattle. We were up $1.47 in the April at 89.45. As far as the outside markets, we had crude oil trading unchanged here when I had last checked. Stocks were trading slightly lower, although they were starting to rebound off some of their earlier lows, so they're really moving around with a lot of this European talk and the dollar. And that's about all we got for you guys today. One last thing I wanted to remind you, we're actually doing a research special right now, 13 months of Allendale's research for $250. This is something you can get by calling us in at 800-262-7538. Talking to one of our brokers, we can help you get signed up for that, as well as our website, which is allendale-inc.com. So feel free to look at the website. It's going to have a lot of the information that you're going to want to have as far as going forward for marketing for next year. So give us a call with any questions you guys are going to have. It was good talking to you guys. Take care and have a good rest of the trading week.